Hi, people. Welcome to this week's edition of the Locker Room right here on Top 6 Fan TV. You are most welcome. An action packed weekend in the English Premier League. Fantastic action from the traditional top six. And as you can see, we have a Gunner in the house and we have a Blue in the house to take us through the action. And we will get right into it after this.
Bukayo Saka! Anthony! Salah! Huge support from Aubameyang! Kane! There goes Haaland. He's on.
Brilliant, brilliant. Welcome if you're just joining us. If it's your first time, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Feel free to hit the like button, drop a comment, and the notification bell. And we'll be happy to have you as one of our subscribers. And with us in the house today is David. Ghana David, you can say what's up.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And as usual, Mabzi, one of our Chelsea suspects in the house, got himself a new jersey. Mabzi, what trophy is that?
Great to be back. This is the Club World Cup. You know, it's nice to have. I don't know if Arsenal has ever gotten the Club World Cup, but yeah, that is it. That's the thing. That's the thing.
No, but you shouldn't be holding golden. You've never held a golden trophy. Just leave that for us now. Invincible people, invincible. Welcome to the show, Bobsy. Welcome to the show. And we'll
Thank
jump
you,
straight
thank you.
into the action. We'll jump straight into the action. You're most welcome. And catch up with the first game. Well, not really first game of the weekend, but the first game we're catching up with was Arsenal. We start from the top of the table, people. Arsenal going away to Leeds. Gritty performance after European night on Thursday, and you could see the level of the performance on the pitch from the Arsenal, eventually grinding out the result 1-0. But what a match. I mean, it started out with like a 30-minute blackout of the technology that the referee needed, which led to a delay. And then on came the drama in the game. David, what was your view of the game? How did it go for you?
You know, just before that game started, I was really worried because Leeds are something else, and this Chelsea man here will tell you what Leeds are all about. Because yeah, he faced a good whipping from those crazy boys. You know, they have that intense pressure, that intense pressing, that intense chasing. And Leeds, especially at home. I think Leeds, in their home games, I think they've drawn once. I don't think they've lost until at Arsenal. So they're really something, They're really an opponent. And actually, watching that game, the second half, being fair, I think Leeds could have taken more from that game. There was some shady refereeing decisions, and this has been a weekend of shady decisions. And I would say Arsenal got away with something. And I think, they call it, I don't want to be bold, but, champions luck. And yeah, we got away with some of that because I really think that Leeds could have taken something from. And I think more people that play Leeds will see they're up to something. This is Jesse March. This Jesse March guy he has something. When he just joined, I thought, hey, this guy from this American guy, does he really have what it takes to be in the Premier League? Because we have not had many American coaches in the Premier League. So yeah, but he has them playing a certain way. Like Leeds have been playing that way since they came to the Premier League, and yeah, they've kept it up. And yeah, it was really shaky, and I think that was a well-earned win. Yeah, we look forward, to the next game for Arsenal, of course.
Brilliant. And that I mean, if ever there was a gritty win and a match filled with drama, like I mentioned, I mean, Patrick Bamford coming on as a substitute and immediately turning the game on its head, keeping the Arsenal defense under pressure, and eventually Saliba succumbed to the pressure, giving out a handball here. But trust Mr. Ramsdale there to get into the minds of the penalty takers and dance around, much in the same way that I mean, who else does that? I think the Aston Villa guy, also former Aston keeper, does that quite well. And the likes of Simon Mignolet dancing around and disorganizing the opponent go take a penalty, and eventually Patrick Bamford putting that putting that wide, and the celebrations continued. But very interesting. Mabzi, David mentioned, I mean, this was one of the kinds of victories champions usually get. Lack of champions, they call it. But would you agree? I mean, it's 10 games in. Arsenal's best start, actually best ever start to a Premier League campaign. Would you believe it? Even under Wenger, we didn't win 9 out of the first 10, which is interesting. But what's your take? What's your take? What's your take on the result first of all and Arsenal's chances for the season?
Leeds is a tough place to go, first and foremost. Ellen Road is not an easy place to go. I do not want to remember the last time Chelsea went to Ellen Road. But it's a tough place to go, and I expected Leeds to put up a show. I've always not rated Arsenal, of course, because I'm a Chelsea fan, and I don't really believe Arsenal go all the way. But that game over the weekend really showed that they have the chance, they have the luck, they have the grit to grind out results, and I think that showed that Arsenal really has serious title credentials. As much as they are 4 points clear, I think 4 or 5 points clear. People don't believe in them, but I think people are going to start believing in Arsenal, that they are real serious title contenders after that win. Come on, you win 9 games out of 10, and people still don't rate you. So I think with all the jazz that is coming around, saying Arsenal will definitely break, they'll go on a losing streak, I think people are starting to believe that, wait a minute, no one is rating these guys, but they keep winning games every week. And I think that game really showed that, Arsenal can grind out, tough games. It was all about VAR. It was a dramatic game. I didn't get to watch the first minutes of the game because I think it was the same time as my game. But of course, later on, I got to watch the game, and I was just seeing drama all over the place. Bamford missing a penalty.
Drama.
I don't know. There was something. I think he has no confidence. Then VR
just come back from a long injury layoff, Bamford, but he was quite
yeah. He's just come back from injury. He's taking a penalty. He put it wide. Then the red card incident. It was just
rush
dramatic.
of blood.
Rush of blood. I think the referee shouldn't have rescinded the red card. I think the intent from Gabriel was there, to harm Bamford. Even if he did not touch him, and of course with the intent, then definitely that should have been a penalty. But of course, these days VAR is really favoring Arsenal, and I think that VAR luck may come in handy. Arsenal may fluke
Why
this
do you
one.
have no go? Why do you have no go, man? Spoken with hate.
That's being patient. Yes.
Spoken with hate. But David, I think he has a point there. I mean, in terms of yes, we're lucky. We're lucky because, man, this incident by Gabriel, this rush of blood that we've seen from him, we have a young squad, and this is sometimes where you see the inexperience coming through. I mean, we're hanging on for dear life. A few minutes to the end, and what happens? Mr. Gabriel there just brings in a very interesting side of it and surviving that. Thankfully, it was overturned. But Arsenal do roll on, welcoming Mr. Jonah. Conveniently, he comes on when we're about to jump into the Liverpool reviews. Jonah, you are most welcome, sir.
Thank you.
we're just discussing the results from your second favorite team, the Arsenal. What
You
was
guys
your take on
survived
that
that
match?
game by
Hey, hey.
I mean, I was talking to some guys yesterday about it. Arsenal is doing exactly what we did that season when we won the league, where there are games which you should lose or draw, and you just somehow find a way. Of course, with a bit of luck here and there. I don't know where I sit exactly on the fence of Gabriel's card. It looked like Bamford fouled him first, then Gabriel reacted. I don't know if that counts as a red card or if they just give them both yellows, which is I think what the ref did. But that's how you know a team that's serious about competing. But Leeds looks threatening. I really don't necessarily look forward to playing them right now.
No, definitely Leeds. I mean, the kind of football that was quite intense, literally, and
Very,
almost
very.
getting a result there. Almost getting a result in there, but we live to fight another day. David called it the lack of champions starting to creep into the Arsenal. And speaking of champions, let's get to the result at Anfield, where it was the staff of champions in that titanic clash between Liverpool and Man City. Mo Salah reigning supreme here with the visual of that run on goal after a fantastic assist from Alisson and an equally astounding error from João Cancelo, who's usually Mr. Dependable, uh, gifting Mo Salah a run on goal. And of course, he did not disappoint. Fantastic scenes there. Liverpool hanging on for 1-0 victory. Jurgen Klopp getting a red card. Hysterics by Pep Guardiola. It had everything. It had everything this match. Haaland being held back. By the Liverpool defense. I don't want to say Virgil van Dijk, but because Joe Gomez was also very important in keeping him at bay. Jonah, your take on the game?
Matt, going into the game, obviously, I thought we were going to have very big problems. It was until maybe towards the game, like a day before the game, I got some confidence. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it's as I was putting in some beers and I said, you know what? I think we can take these guys. Because we do have a good record against them. Klopp wins Pep more than Pep wins Klopp. And I don't think it changes anything in terms of our current situation. People are saying that, oh, now they're going to go on a run or something like that. I wish it was so. But I think we just, for some reason, always show up against City. So even for those who play fantasy, if you're thinking now is the time to put Liverpool players, you may get shocked in the next game and we do our usual nonsense. But against City, especially at Anfield, there's something that happens.
Why are you putting in disclaimers early for the next game? Because we're counting a 10 match winning run. David, this guy, you believe
I know the stuff. He's trying to book losses, huh?
He's trying to calm us down.
Confident, huh?
Come on, you're playing West Ham next. It's a walkover.
You guys.
West Ham
that's a discussion for another. Midweek indeed. David, your take on the game, man. What happened? Why didn't City? What happened to Haaland this time?
You know, it's not even a Haaland thing. I think there's something. That game was like a cup final. Yeah, that's the first thing. And there's something that enters Pep's head. And this is not to take anything away from Liverpool, because Liverpool got the tactics spot on. They changed things around. Mo Salah was now a striker. This young kid, Elliot, was, playing on the wing. They had Gomez in playing the game of his life. So I'm not going to take anything away from Liverpool, but there's something about Pep that enters his head when he gets into these games and switches up his tactics. I remember that final against Chelsea. And not to take anything away from Mabzi's Champions League win, but he played around with his tactics. Yeah, he played around his tactics. He never played a holding midfielder. and just things, he gets confused, he overthinks the thing. So there was a bit of that in the Liverpool game where I think they were playing a back three, they were trying to do something different. And that kind of tweaking just exposed them to the danger of the Liverpool counter. It was like the Liverpool of old, that Liverpool
Yes.
that used to hit balls over the top, and Salah, Mane, they're just running at you. So there was that, but it was a very entertaining game. Also, City had a lot of threat, but a lot of things fell into the right places, at least for Liverpool. Joe Gomez, has had those injury issues, and he's been off form, but it's like he just did an audition for the World Cup, just getting ready. He showed all his true colors. And then Van Dijk, Van Dijk never, most of his games, he never dives in, he never overexerts himself. But this time, he was throwing his head at headers, getting in the way, slide tackles, and all of that. So Liverpool, it was a mix of Liverpool, bring on their A game, and Man City just trying to do something of different things. But I think Man City will go back to business as usual. And for Liverpool, I think they're actually going to step it up, because they've kind of tweaked their game from what it was, like the initial failings, the defensive errors. And of course, there's the lack of, Trent isn't around. I think if Trent comes back, there'll be that confusion again. And you might see some weaknesses here and there. But yeah, really entertaining game. And I think that both teams are really going to kick forward.
Fantastic. Mabzi, your take on the game?
Personally, I feel City did not show up. Of course, I don't want to take anything away from Liverpool's win. Liverpool had to show up. There was no shortcuts. They had to play hard. They had to show up. It was more like the United Liverpool game where United had to show up, despite the bad run. So Liverpool had to show up. For some reason, City did not. Haaland was not the usual, deadly striker. He had a free header in the first half. He couldn't bury it. He had a chance where he could slide the ball in, and he didn't. He failed to control it. There's something about City in that game that was not the usual City. Foden failed to, beat Milner. Milner was playing right back, I think. He failed to beat Milner. And Milner felt like he was 15 years younger. So I think City, personally, I feel City did not show up, and that gave Liverpool the advantage. And like Jonah said, there's a chance that Liverpool may go back to its usual self, the one that played at Napoli. Not against West Ham, but maybe at Stamford Bridge when they come to play us. So yeah,
Yes.
I think Liverpool is back. I think they just had perfect timing.
Nah, against you guys, we don't joke around.
We still have that beef for
Against
finals. We have that
don't
beef.
joke around.
Two finals.
That's a threat.
Serious beef.
Yeah, Chelsea fans are really. I really like Chelsea fans. They have this imaginary rivalry with us, and for us, we are not concerned about them. We don't care about you guys. I think we have hurt you a lot.
I know you guys have finished the chap, man.
We just have beef on Liverpool, by the way. Back to the Garcia goal that didn't go in. The Garcia goal that didn't go in.
I'm sorry for what we have done to you.
And
we don't care about you guys. First, our beef is with Manu and now City, of course.
For sure. No, fantastic stuff. That game was it was a cracker of a game. Lots of action. This man here, Haaland, finally we got to see a game where he was shooting blank, so he was rather held back.
Human.
But he was humanized. I mean, fantastic game there. Moving on to the Chelsea game, away at Mr. Steven Gerrard's team in Birmingham there, Aston Villa welcoming Spurs to to their grounds, and Villa Park was quite astounded by this man who seized the moment, Mr. Mason Mount. Mabzi, this guy, I mean, just when you think he has cooled off, he pulls a performance out of the draw. And I think Chelsea are going about their business quite silently, if you ask me. Graham Potter starting to exert his influence on them. I mean, he's quite tactically sound, and his credentials were never in doubt in terms of his ability to coach. I think what was in doubt was his ability to manage a dressing room with those kinds of personalities. But going about his business quite well. Mason Mount with the goals there, both goals for Chelsea victorious. Mabzi, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're picking up results. Consistency was key from the beginning. We now probably have 3-4 wins on the bounce. We're not conceding, which is good. I know Kepa had the game of his life, and I don't know if Mendy is coming back into the team after the game that Kepa had at Villa Park. Mason Mount he started out the season slow. I think under Thomas Tuchel he wasn't really himself, but then he's starting to pick up form. Even in the England-Germany game, you could see that he's more confident. And I think we're going to see the Mason Mount of the old, not the one that was hiding in the previous games. This is the Mason Mount who picks up the ball, shoots, scores, makes assists. So I think, like you said, we're quietly moving in, and anyone who sleeps up in there may be shocked that we're coming into to our old selves. Oba is a little bit not up for it, but he still gets the chances and he scores. Sterling, very disappointed. I'm disappointed in Sterling. He's fast. He's a threat, but he's not a clinical striker. He misses a lot of chances, and I think he needs to work on his finishing. But generally, I think we are better now under Potter. We are consistent. We are strong. We're tactically astute. We have formations changing every other day. So we are happy to play against, and you guys should be watching.
Jonah, this man here is very excited. I don't know. He doesn't know Graham Potter is still getting sacked in December.
That American will shock you, eh? But no, I agree with Mabzi. I saw a stat recently before this Villa game. I think it was after the AC Milan game, and it was the attacking returns versus the defensive returns with Tuchel and now with Potter. And with Tuchel, you guys were somehow attacking less, like trying to be conservative with your football, and it wasn't even helping because still you were conceding a lot and a lot of errors here and there. Potter came in, he first maintained the old formation, then he changed to now, I would say his own style, and you're seeing the results. And of course, the addition of Aubameyang, I was seeing in the Villa game, he kept getting into dangerous positions. He made which led to the first goal of Mount. Just sometimes there's a presence. That's what Cancelo panic. Sometimes just the player bit around you can make you react differently.
Yeah.
But that being said, I guess Potter's first test is going to be, because your next game is Brentford, then you have United. On the
weekend. Yeah.
I think the United one is going to be interesting. Irrespective of what happens midweek, United will come to that game desperate for a win, and of course, you guys just have to prove a point. I'm not sure who is home or away. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, Chelsea is home. Chelsea's home.
Yeah,
so
Chelsea's
you
home.
have to
Stamford
Bridge.
Obviously, you will have to attack them, and attacking United, as Arsenal found out, is a very tricky thing. They can just sit back.
As did Liverpool.
Yeah, same, even us. But not for us. They just outplayed us. They were better than us on all fronts. But with you guys, you dominated the game, then they just counter. I think all 3 goals were counters. And it will be interesting to watch how Potter sets up for that game. Yeah.
Interesting. David, your take on Chelsea?
Yeah, like the guys have been saying, Chelsea they've been going silently about their business, and it's like because we are not really paying attention to them, it's like they are getting away with it. Huh? But yeah, jokes aside, I think Potter is really going about his business really well. Though that Aston Villa game, Aston Villa really played like the home team, and I think Chelsea got away with something there because Kepa was doing some magical stuff. He's really doing some magical stuff. And then Chelsea, I would say, really, apart from Mason Mount, admittedly, I didn't really watch just the highlights, but as apart from Mason Mount and maybe the keeper, I don't know who really stood out. And another thing about Chelsea, kind of like Arsenal, is you have to worry about Chelsea's attack, the depth of the attack. But let's say if there's no Aubameyang, you have to wonder, how will they get the goals? And even Aubameyang he's had his moments, where he goes quiet, he gets lost. And like Mabzi said, Sterling really hasn't lived up to what he was brought in to do. So you have to worry about that. I think maybe that's something Chelsea have to look at maybe in the January window. And then I think if we start paying attention to this Chelsea, I think that Potter is going to be found out. He's going to be found out. First of all, I think this Brentford game is going to be a huge because those guys are not an easy team. And I don't know if it's home to Brentford, but if it is home, then Chelsea is a real test.
No, they're away, man. They're away. Chelsea visit Brentford.
Yeah, we visit.
The bees, man. You guys are going to get stung.
The thing about Chelsea, why there's a nervous air around it, is we know that crazy American can do anything. Like you could go just 3-4 bad games, and the guy says it's time. And yet, Potter, we all know he's a good coach. He did Brighton. But why there's a nervous air, and I'm sure Mabzi can agree, is we don't know that American guy where his mind is. He can just wake up tomorrow and say, it's time for change. So anything could happen in next 4, 5, 6 weeks, depending on the form.
I agree with you. I think his undoing will most likely depend on the Champions League. If Chelsea fail to qualify for the next round, that guy is out, man. That guy is out, and then you guys can wait for Rafa Benitez to come back, take you through to the end of the season. Moving on to another team that is also going under the radar. North London rivals of the Arsenal, Spurs, keeping it up consistently. And this is so much like Conte. Very secure performance in there against Everton. Is it just me or Spurs are getting a penalty every game weekend? Yeah? Harry Kane seems to have. I mean, the guy has. I keep seeing penalties every other week, and Spurs winning this game 2-0 at home. Everton beaten. David, what's your take on Spurs as well? Moving in stealthy mode.
That thing you pointed out, I can tell you that for me, each time I see a Spurs result, Kane penalty. And I think he's becoming a professional con man, at winning those penalties. But this is what Conte does. Conte will get the results anyway. And even the Spurs fans themselves, the Spurs fans that that you hear talk, they're not impressed with the type of football they are playing. And their defense is that, we are getting the results. What do you care about? We're getting the results. And what that looks like, first of all, I don't think Spurs can win the league. I don't even think they can win any trophy. The competition that says, I think, is stronger than them. So the way I see it is Conte won't do long in Tottenham, because if he's not successful, he will just run back to Italy. But Spurs, because of Conte, they'll always be a solid team, and they always get the results. If you want to look pretty, but they always get the results. And I'm not a fan of Spurs, as you can imagine.
Definitely
So
not.
I really don't have much positive to say about them. That's my piece on Spurs.
When I was going to throw in a North London chuck for Spurs, but there's some regulations on language here. Mabzi, you guys contained Spurs earlier. Well, not really contained. I mean, it was a draw at Stamford Bridge, right? The famous handshake. What was that? Battle of the handshakes. That
It
eventually
was a
got people
fluke
fired.
draw. It was a fluke draw. We always beat Spurs. It's like they had won the World Cup when they held us at Stamford Bridge, albeit with the help of the referee. But in this game, I feel like I'm watching very many Tottenham games. They always play late kickoff, and there's something boring about them. They
Definitely.
just grind out wins. There's that old
Penalty here.
Penalty here, there. Kane scores. That's it. Maybe the Spurs game, the Leicester game was the big one where they scored 6, but they always just struggle to win games, and it seems like they're not going to last up there. They'll definitely they'll fail to make it. They'll fail to make it. The rest of the park are too strong for Spurs, and you will see even in the next game. I think they're playing Man United at Old Trafford. I don't rate them at all. These guys, they're just scraping through, and maybe they will make the top 4, but that is of course at the expense of Liverpool and United. But really, I don't see much coming from Spurs. Even in the Champions League, they are really struggling in a weak group full of mediocres. So I don't really rate them. Like David has said, of course, he's a rival. I'm also a rival, and John, I don't think that we cook the Chelsea Spurs rivalry, but it's there, it's real. We don't like those guys, and we beat them. Yeah, they're fake guys.
Where you, Jonah? Anyway, Jonah, your take on that. You've accused the man of cooking rivalries. He's keen to set the record straight.
No, I think it's fair to really hate Spurs because those guys are so unlikable. For me personally, it's Harry Kane. I think if Kane wasn't in that team, I would have no problem with Spurs. And now they've even added Richarlison, another unlikable guy. Spurs, like you talked about the penalties. Not only are they getting penalties, but it's Kane who is getting the penalties. And if you saw this one against Everton, I'm surprised there's not enough talk around it. The guy dived.
Yeah.
Like it was a proper clean dive. Of course, being the Prince of England, they'll give it all day. I really don't look forward to playing them. I don't want it. I dread it. It will be a terrible, terrible game.
Guaranteed there'll definitely be a penalty in there. And moving on to the Red Devils here at Old Trafford. Speaking of penalties, these guys were
please let me start.
Decisions in general. Hey, so Jonah, was that a goal or not? Cristiano?
No. The thing is, I think it was a goal because the ref blew the whistle, to be fair. It's just, I don't know, but it was a goal. Like my heart wants to say, no, they cheated and all this, but he blew the whistle. The defender kicked it back. I don't know why he did that because he's supposed to do that before they blow the whistle. And the keeper just looks at him, still ball. I think in my opinion, it was a goal because I really watched it back many times. And he blew the whistle. He put his hand up. It was time to play.
Yes.
So I think the ball was stolen fair and square. But everything that followed that and throughout the whole game, man, I can't stand these guys. They are always surrounding the ref. Bruno spends, if they have to do a heat map, it's like his man marking the ref. He spends.
we don't talk about Bruno. No.
He spends 80% of the game. He's on the ref. I don't know how these refs don't like give him a card or something. The guy is too much. This game, he kept falling and diving and complaining. It was a terrible game to watch. Very terrible. even Newcastle guys just kept shaking their heads like, man, what are you guys playing? I've not seen any other team do that. Just look at this thumbnail you have up. There's no team you see surrounding. Like when Haaland scored, there was a foul on Fabinho. It was only like Alisson, Thiago, and Milner around like 3 guys. And Milner even came and chased them and said, "No, let me talk to him alone." These guys will surround you, all 11 players. Even some fans will jump on the pitch to help on that.
Reminds you of
I can't
Barcelona.
stand Yeah, they used to be like that also.
And Chelsea actually. Remember how John Terry, Lampard, the ball boy,
Chelsea
all of them
was
surround the
not
coach. Even that ball boy surrounding referees.
No.
You guys. Chelsea.
No.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, look at this, Babsi. What was your take on this game? Of course, John has raised that point around United. Try to influence the referee, but I mean, what does this result say about Newcastle? I mean, we do know that they're the money bags, and Eddie Howe is going about building his team in a similar fashion to. I know Graham Potter has only been in the job a few weeks now, but Newcastle are quite effective, and actually at St. James's Park they're very ruthless, right? They're well organized and difficult to break down. So what does it say about them?
Yeah, okay, first and foremost, before I talk about Newcastle, I think if Rashford is the one who scored this goal, I think the ref would have given it. There's some guys who are just not, I would say, likable. If it's Bruno, if it's CR7, the ref is just looking for a reason not to give the goal. So I think the ref was he might have been pissed off or influenced during the game and was just not happy, and then he decides to say, no, you guys are not getting this goal. It's a very easy goal. And maybe that's why he did not give it. The ref blew the whistle, and probably it should have been a goal, but it wasn't given anyway. Newcastle is it's a banana skin. It's a team that, of course, we've always known to be weak, but they're gaining in strength. They've done well in the market. They've bought players like Bruno Guimaraes, players who probably not so many people know, but they've got the fight. They've got the fight in them. They went and bought, I think, Isaac, to complement Wilson. They've made some good buys in the market, and of course, Eddie Howe and his tactics. They've really shown that they've improved. They've generally improved. It's not the Newcastle of old, and I think slowly, as they improve, they'll attract better talent, unknown talent, and before you know it, Newcastle will be a serious Champions League contender. It's no longer be top 4, top 6. All of a sudden, now we're looking at Newcastle coming in, making it hard for the rest. So I think Newcastle is a really strong team. We saw that early in the season when they played City. They held City. I think it was a 3-3 draw, and it's another fixture that is really going to make it hard for the rest of the teams the big teams to make 3 points. If it's Arsenal, if it's Chelsea, if it's any other team that is really trying to win the title, they definitely find it hard to get the 3 points against Newcastle. Yeah,
for sure, they're definitely building something special. David, your take on that Manchester United Newcastle game, 0-0 draw there at Old Trafford. Eric Ten Hag, are we seeing enough of his influence or positive influence on United? Or what's your take?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we have seen what Ten Hag brings to the table. I think he's still playing with the Solskjaer blueprint, because it's really more of the same. They, hold the low block and then hit people on the counter. If you saw how Rashford almost caused the 2 goals at the end, that was real Ole 101. And also the way Man U reacted to that phantom goal of Cristiano, that was desperation, because they're really struggling for goals. I think I saw the table, and in the top 10 they are one of two teams who have a negative goal difference, and I think it is them and Bournemouth. And unfortunately for Bournemouth, they lost that 9-0 against Liverpool. So can you really count
Yes.
it? But Man U have a negative goal difference compared to the rest of the teams, the Newcastles, the Brightons. So they're really struggling for goals, and I think they're really struggling with who they are, like their identity. Because you can't say this is Man U's, style of play. Do they impose themselves? Do they dominate? So they're trying to find themselves, but they can't. They have not been able to do so. Ten Hag is just playing with the social blueprint. I don't know if he's waiting for the right players or. So I don't think things look good for Manu, but credit to him, he's getting some results here and there. And then as for Newcastle, it's one thing to sign players, but it's another thing to actually get results, because you will see the Nottingham Forest example. The guys are down at the foot of the table, yet they've spent all this money. So you have to give Eddie Howe a lot of credit.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah,
Good
they're
example
getting-
there. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, they're really getting the results. And I think it was you, Matthew, mentioned at St. James's Park, they're really a force. And yeah, they're taking scalps.
Indeed. Brilliant. And we will definitely look forward to Newcastle taking more scalps from some of the big boys to make the league a bit more interesting. But the table indeed is starting to shape up, ladies and gentlemen. Arsenal still on top there, 10 games played, 27 points, 4 ahead of Manchester City, who were beaten by Liverpool and are in second place. City, of course, that loss now putting them 11 points with Spurs, who are in third. City, of course, with a superior goal difference there, 23. And Chelsea then coming into fourth on 19 points, and Man United fifth on 16 points. Man United and Chelsea both with a game in hand over the top three, and then Newcastle following sixth. Liverpool have now moved from 10th to 8th position. They have 13 points after 9 games played, and they do have a game in hand. So looking interesting, and of course, as we go along, the big matches coming up this week. We have a little bit of a not necessarily a double game week, but some of those games in hand are going to be played. We have Brentford, Chelsea, Brentford at home, Chelsea visiting, Liverpool welcoming West Ham to Anfield, Manchester United welcoming Spurs to Old Trafford, which is definitely going to be interesting. And then over the weekend, Liverpool away to Forest, Man City hosting Brighton and Hove Albion, a big one in London as Chelsea welcome Manchester United, and Arsenal go away to Southampton, while Spurs welcome Newcastle to St. James's Park. So very interesting round of games to look forward to over the weekend, and we will over the next few days during the course of this week after the weekend. And we will have to leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. If you've just joined, feel free to hit the like button, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. David, thanks for joining in. Jonah, as usual. Mabzi, as usual, thank you for joining in. And I do believe before we head out, we have a comment there. Chelsea fan here, Ali Kigeni, saying Chelsea keep the blue flag flying, and Mabzi does agree. Holding his I don't know why he's not holding the badge. He was not holding the badge earlier. He's holding that golden trophy, but we had to remind him that Chelsea have actually never held a golden trophy. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to leave it at that. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.